Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drellis, and together we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area and looking for some photography work, you can check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him at photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to our friends at the Studio Dallas. The Studio Dallas is the best kept secret in the Dallas podcasting world. If you are looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video, and audio recording capabilities, along with a team to make things go smoothly, then check out the Studio Dallas. You can learn more about them through us at startergirls@gmail.com.
And head on over to startergirls.com to pick up your free gift. We want to keep in touch with you and also give you a little something to help you up-level your decision-making skills. We also, want to just continue to see you outside the podcast. So go over to startergirls.com and pick that up today.
Absolutely. All right, guys, today is a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up, be amazing, be you, do you. All right, it is time to welcome our guest to the show today, and we are excited.
Yes,
All right,
we are.
so Miss Latoya Cooper, also known as the Songstress, is the founder of Meets the Boardroom, the #1 platform for top A-list indie artists, entrepreneurs. Latoya is a successful, self-sustained businesswoman sought after by music industry channels for her expertise and fresh, direct approach. She has spent the past decade in the project management space and holds a master's of business administration. She is born a visionary and accomplished recording and touring artist, Entrepreneuress, I love this word, and has been featured on Essence.com as the artist to watch. Latoya uses her extensive know-how to help indie artists shift their business model from surviving to thriving by leading with their superpower, nurturing their entrepreneurial traits, and building a clear plan of action toward achieving their biggest career goals.
Yes.
Latoya, that is like a power biography
Yes,
there.
it is.
You like
It
said
is.
my word, superpower, visionary, entrepreneuress. These are just all great words. I love it.
Me too. Latoya, welcome to Starter
Yes.
Girls.
Exactly.
Well,
I
thank
see. I
you.
know
Well,
Latoya.
I am
so
I know.
Thank you.
It's so awesome. I know when I read these.
Thank you, Starter Girls. I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome. When I read these bios, Brianna, it's so fun because, of course, Brianna knows everybody sends their bio to us. And some of them I have to go in and kind of reword them because they might not be quite as upbeat. And then I get Latoya's today and I'm like, oh my goodness, she's speaking my language. We don't have to change anything.
Well, and one
Yes.
of Jennifer's superpowers is actually reading bios aloud. So when she got this was probably just like butter for her.
I'm like,
Oh,
superpower.
yes, absolutely.
And I know you, Latoya, and I know that I can attest to all of these things on this bio that truly, Latoya is remarkable. She is such a powerhouse. She's gorgeous inside and out. She has this amazing energy. And that's one of the reasons why I was just so excited to get you on the show. And I can't wait to, first share this with our audience, but also let you tell us all about all the amazing things that you're up to.
Yeah, I can already feel her energy. I'm already feeling it anyway. So when she came on with these cute glasses, by the way, guys, go to her website, check out those glasses. They are something cute there. But she came on, I'm already like, I like her. I'm like feeling the energy. Okay, so Latoya, tell us about this Music Meets the Boardroom. Like, how did this come about for you? Tell us what this is and how it kind of came together for you.
Absolutely. So Music Meets the Boardroom founded Music Meets the Boardroom in 2017. And really, it has been lifelong in the making. Having my superpower being the gift of vision, over the years, I have helped many people start businesses, grow businesses. I've worked with CEOs throughout my career. And when I got back into music after going through 10 years of depression, that's a long story. Maybe we could talk about that or not. But I chose to pursue music professionally. And while I'm going through that process, other artists were coming to me consistently asking me, how I was running my business. They loved how I was running my music business. And I would help them. It was no thing for me because that's what I had been doing my whole life, is building businesses, right? And I had a mentor who was absolutely phenomenal, a genius mentor by the name of Damon K. Clark. And one day he pulled me to the side and he was like, "Do you realize what's happening?" And I'm like, "No, I'm clueless. And he's like, people are coming to you. They're inspired by how you're running your business, and they want to know you have something really special here and you should expand on it." And about 2 weeks later, I came up with Music Meets the Boardroom, and I started growing it ever since then. It has been an interesting journey. It has been a learning journey. Oh my goodness. But I would not have it any other way. It has been amazing.
I love it. So tell us about what you do with, I mean, you're helping these indie artists. Is it really just helping them get their business kind of go from launch to getting it out there? Is that kind of what you do with this? Because I'm not from the music side, but I get the visionary because I'm a visionary and I can see things and how, I don't always know the execution, how to get them, but I can see the big long-term picture, like where we're headed with something. So kind of tell us a little bit about how you're helping these guys.
Absolutely. So when I started out, I was primarily focusing on the mindset, right? And helping artists shift from really operating a space of like hobby and shifting into accepting themselves as the born entrepreneurs that they actually are. And I still support and do those type of things, but I expand a little deeper. Helping them get really clear about their musical mission. Here's the deal. There are a lot of talented people in the world, but how do you plan to use your talent? And do you really understand your talent? And when we're clear about those foundational elements, then everything else, all the concepts and things like that, are bonus, are plus. Everything else is going to happen more organically for you. And then also, I use my gift of vision to help artists really level up. And what I mean by that is, you may have an idea where you want to be, but you're not quite sure how to get there. Here's the deal. When they work with me, I will help you. We'll come up with a clear path to that. And I always emphasize with my clients, I'm like, hey, don't come to me till you're ready, because if you say you want something, we're going to work a way to get it, make it happen, and be ready for what you asked for, because anything is really possible.
I love this.
Yes.
I love it. Well, and I think the thing that you said that resonated with me, because I think no matter what industry you're in, you got to get clear on what your mission is, where you're going. I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. We were talking about that, just really trying to hone in on what is your niche? Like, what are you passionate about? Because when you're trying to deliver that, however you're trying, whatever is in your head, you're going to subconsciously go towards that. So if you're not really clear about where you're headed, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. You've got do you do this? Do you do that? So I love that you're really talking about, and you said something in the beginning that really caught my attention, the mindset, because that's probably one of my favorite words. Because everything
it's everything.
Everything starts
yes,
there.
yes,
It really does.
It's everything. And unfortunately, in our community, in the music community, it's something that's not always nurtured, right? We're encouraged to hone our skill, but when it comes to the business, when it comes to the mindset, when it comes to the positioning, those are things that are overlooked and not talked about. And so I think that we definitely need more of that, because it's going to help more artists actually be successful. Um, more artists can be more successful, right? It's not just a wait until you're discovered, or that this person or that person is the lucky one. There is a path. And when you create a plan, when you actually truly believe it for yourself, it can be possible. And I think that that's also part of the challenge too. What we say and what we do may be completely different than what we actually believe. And we have to get to that belief part, and that what you said, that mindset.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. And that comes back, I think that comes back to like affirmations and really just having those confidence building wins that really reinforce your belief. Because so many people, like you said something earlier, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but a lot of times we're waiting for something to happen to say, okay, this is okay to do this. No, you're going to have to make that happen. And it means you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. You're going to have the right mindset. And you're going to have to just know that as you're doing all that process, you're actually building your confidence, and that's going to reinforce that belief you have. So it's like this circle you go in, you know, that you have to take that on. So I think what you're doing is great. I love it. It's very similar. I feel like she's speaking my language a lot.
Yeah.
It's just you're in the music industry and I'm in a different industry, but I feel like there's a lot of parallels in what you're doing, because I think everything that we do in business requires those same kind of thought process. It's just because you're a creator doesn't mean you get away from being mindful about your business.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Business is business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's something. So, Latoya, I think we probably met in 2018, maybe right after. I'm thinking we probably met in spring of 2018. So probably because I was on your show. And so I was on Latoya's show.
Fun.
And got to know you, and I was so impressed and blown away by you. But you and I really connected because we serve artists in similar ways, but differently. And one thing that I loved about you is your, I want to say, fierce commitment to the whole collaboration over competition. Because you and I both recognize that together we are stronger, and there's enough out there for us all. We don't have to be like competitive, and we can learn from one another. But I also think that your evolution with Music Meets the Boardroom is something that you give back to your clients, because it took time for it to evolve and become what you want, and it's still evolving. And it's the same thing with an artist's path, or that road to as an entrepreneur, or if we want to call it musicpreneur, however we want to call it. It's that trial and error, and being okay that we didn't maybe get it right the first time, or whatever that might be. Artists, and you and I understand this because we work with them, they really want that overnight success. They want that overnight gratification, so to speak. And we know that it's like, look, you're either in this for like the long road. The music industry is not the next 2 years. This is like, are you in it or are you not? Because this is the next 20 years. This is, it's a long road that people have to commit to.
Right. And I'm not quite sure where the root of that came from, but I think once we have that shift and realize that our gift is actually our product and service, and we realize with any other business, it takes time. With any other career, it takes time. And oftentimes we really just like expect it to happen overnight, just like you said. And when it doesn't, we don't understand why, right? But just like any other experience, we are growing, we are maturing, we are building the muscle to withstand and withhold, the blessings that are going to come. And I have a similar conversation with artists, like, don't rush the process, because when you get there, you want to be able to keep it. What's more beautiful than getting to a space where you're super clear about what you're doing, who you are, why you're there, so you can be powerful, and then withstand it and have a long-term success experience. And I think that's beautiful, and it's highly possible for many people. It's just allowing the process to happen and embracing every step along the way.
I would agree with you. And I think, and honestly, I think a lot of business owners are like that. I mean, I work with a lot of people that is the mindset. They want this instant, entrepreneurs a lot of times, especially if, like I grew up in an entrepreneurial space. I watched my parents struggle and go through that process. So I very early on adopted that idea that if you want to have a business, you're going to work for it. You're going to have to make it work, But I work with a lot of entrepreneurial women that are not in the music industry, but they are starting other businesses. And I think it's very similar in that process, because they'll go in and they think, okay, well, I'm making these calls and I'm doing this work and I should automatically have something lined up. And I'm like, no. And not only that, you know, you do, I think you have to build that sustainability. So you have to be able to keep not really reinvent the wheel, but duplicating your process over and over and
Rinse and repeat.
Yes,
Rinse
and
repeat.
get good at your craft. Like, stop switching up your ammunition all the time. Get good at what you're doing. Do it over and over and over until you have it figured out. Because if you don't have it figured out, there's something you need to do. You need to learn more. You need to practice more. You need to meet somebody. There's something you need to do. So
Absolutely.
I think what you're saying is 100% spot on.
And the importance of not quitting, because any industry, any beginning entrepreneur, artist, whatever, whoever's out there starting a business or starting a venture, something that they're passionate about, if you don't give it enough time to get to that level where everything starts coming together, and you quit before the opportunity's really there, like, you're gonna miss out on the opportunity.
Yeah, you might miss the next break.
If you're a visionary like you two are, you know, I'm the strategy girl. You know, I see things and I hear things, so I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a visionary.
Don't quit.
I know. Just keep going.
Just don't quit.
The next break is over the hill. You just got to get over the hill.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And, you know, I also share with artists that there's so much pressure in social media to have all these followers and to have all these eyes on you, which is a great thing, right? However, I encourage artists to take advantage of the time that they have where people aren't watching, because then that gives you the space to mess up, you know, and to get it right. And you don't have certain type of energy, I'll just say that, in your way distracting you, right? And that's a blessing. That is a blessing. And so, like you said, it's a process. Take advantage of that downtime. Take advantage of that time where you can fall off the bike and get back on it and figure out how to master that skill, and you know, enjoy every single element of that journey. What I also would like to mention is, when we are in alignment, it helps to take the pressure off. And I think anyone who just has this huge sense of urgency and it's consistent and it never really goes away, that is something I would always kind of like ask them. Like, do you feel like you're really in alignment? Why do you feel like you have these pressures? Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there are moments in the universe where something's tapping you on your shoulder saying, hey, I need you to do this and I need you to do it fast. However, there should still be a sense of internal peace throughout your walk, you know? So, as artists, you know, or any other entrepreneur, as we're speaking of, if it's just like, I've got to win, and you can't sleep, then the question is, why are you really doing this?
100%. I'm having FOMO.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Been there. That's how I know.
Why are we freaking? Yeah, and I agree with you on the alignment thing, because so many people are doing things, and then when you really get down to why are you doing this, they don't really even know why. They just think they need to be doing this because that's what everybody else is doing. And when you're talking about your audience, I mean, and that, again, that I'm working with a girl right now that has a large audience, and we talk about those things, these collaborations, and there's this pressure from other people see these pages and they think, I have to have this huge following. And so I think it's great that you're looking at that and going, okay, well, you have that time now to make those mistakes, which is funny because I was talking to a client yesterday about bicycles.
Yep.
True story.
That's the scenario I use to help people understand the process of, hey, you know, you're going to fall off the bike. People are going to laugh at you. They're going to point at you from the sidewalk saying, why are you riding that bike? You keep falling off. And then while they're sitting on the sidewalk, you end up mastering the skill of riding that bike, and you're riding down the street and they're like, oh my gosh, how did he do that? How did she do that? And that's exactly what happens when you see people kind of, it seems like they come out of nowhere, or like last week you were looking and, you know, their business was a mess. And then 3 months later or 3 years later, you look back and they're like flourishing. And then you don't understand. People don't understand why. And it's because, like you said, they never gave up. They allowed themselves in space to make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes and built from there.
So good. Latoya, I have a question for you. I'm kind of getting off. This may be one of my fun questions. So when you were growing up, because you said you were building businesses before, and then you came back into music, which I'm guessing was your roots. So did you grow up in music? Was this kind of your thing? Because I know I asked Brianna this question the first time she came on the podcast. I'm like, were you this kid that was like running around singing? Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I can totally see it. So tell us about your background in this.
Yes, I came out the womb singing. I am the only singer in the family and the only creative, colorful soul in the family. Everybody else is like plain Jane, don't want to stick out, want to blend in kind of, environment. And I grew up just sitting in my room, writing songs, singing all day. And as a kid, I did not know that I was a born entrepreneur myself, right? It was something that was so innate to me. So at 10, 11 years old, I was already booking shows. My parents were not helping me. I was picking up the phone. I was looking at dialing numbers in the newspaper, working with people at the schools and stuff. And I would set up talent shows. I would enter pageants, anything. And I would just come home and tell my parents, like, I entered a pageant. Can you take me and drop me off on Saturday? Like or different things like that. And I never shared this, but I'm gonna share this with both of you. I had this little box that held cassette tapes. And I would fill it up with karaoke tapes. I would have my mom and my dad take me to the karaoke store, and I would go get these tapes and I would practice, learn the songs, and put them in my Rolodex and have a list of songs that I knew at like 10 years old. And so those were the songs I would sing when someone booked me.
I love it.
My parents never helped me, right? I never
Amazing.
correlated that I was doing entrepreneurial stuff. I never did. And as I got older and I ended up at like 20 years old, I stopped singing. Long story, went to college, got like 4 college degrees, whole nother conversation there. But trying to find something to fill the void, because I was told that, put the music down because it's not going to show up for you, and go do this because this is what you're supposed to do. And so I did it. And it didn't work. I didn't feel like, okay, this doesn't make sense. And I would go back and get another degree, and I would go back and get another one. I'm like, this is what's supposed to work, right? And so after 4 degrees later, and all the other things that you're supposed to have, a 6-figure job, traveling the world, a beautiful loft, I had everything you're supposed to have, right? And I was still empty, and I didn't understand why. And I prayed to God. I'm kind of getting slightly off the subject, but I prayed and I was like, God, I just want this feeling off of me, this heaviness off of me. I'll do anything. And I thought God was going to ask me to go be like a missionary or something. And I was going to do it, like a nun or something. I was like, I don't care. I will do it. And he didn't. He told me to sing. Out of all things, he said, sing. And at the time, I was like, okay, why? But then I was like, this is so simple. He's trying to bring me back to that space. And what I learned in that process was the reason why I had became so empty is because singing was how I spiritually connected.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it until I was an adult. And I was like, oh, this is why I'm missing this element. And so it has been a journey. And he told me to sing. But over the last few years, I realized that the singing was for me to learn as much as I could about being an artist and the struggles and the requirements and all this type of thing, so that I could start walking in my purpose and more in my mission, which is having these type of conversations and helping artists become clear about how they should be truly using their gift, right? And following that versus following the crowd.
That's so good.
It is so good. Latoya, I'm so glad you shared that,
Yeah.
because it's really, it's totally relevant, and it's so important for people to understand that your story is what got you to today,
mhm.
right? And so
Right.
many of us, and I talk about this a lot when I speak, is when you have a gift or a talent, if you don't stay connected to it, if you aren't, like for music, it's either if you're not performing, writing, singing, doing something connected to that art, whatever that art is for you, you will spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally suffer and not just you, but everyone around you.
Mhm.
And so it's like you had a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual reaction to the fact that you set down that God-given gift, right? And just said, no, 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 bye. Thanks, but no thanks. And it surfaced in a way that was to get your attention, right? There was this huge disruption, so to speak, that took place in order for you to recognize that you had to go back to the beginning, to those building blocks, and return to the foundation and reclaim that gift that was given to you.
Right. And honestly, just within the past couple of years or so is when I started to really put the pieces together. And you've witnessed it has been messy. Okay, it has been messy. I'm trying to figure it all out, but I'm like, I know that this is the right path. I've just got to figure it out, right? And the pieces every single day, a new piece is revealed every single day. And I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about continuing to share my story and just being true to the journey.
Yeah.
And one other thing I'll share, which I don't know if I've shared this before, but I recently just left my job, my six-figure job. Like, I did share this with you. I had just left my six-figure job December. And I really didn't have any intentions to do that, right? Until a couple of things were revealed to me. One is you can't get full-time results on part-time effort, right? And I was dividing myself so much in two different worlds that it was starting to take a mental toll on me, mental and physical toll, right? And I had to make a decision. I'm like, okay, do I stay in this space or do I move into this other space? And the universe made the decision for me because I was extremely uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, I gotta go. And I left. And honestly, it was the best decision I could have made. I do not regret it at all. I have not felt so much internal peace. For the first time in my life, I don't feel the need to kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like this go, 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 like, just kind of for the first time, I feel like I'm exactly where I should be. And I'm perfectly okay and content and happy with everyday experience.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
I love that.
Absolutely. And I think that's so true. She says a lot of really good things. I think the thing that, as you were talking, Latoya, I'm thinking about, because I've talked about this before. We had a guest on here and she came on, oh goodness, like in the winter of 2020, back before the pandemic started. And she was talking about how your talents always come back and find you. And I think it's so interesting how you hear these stories about kids that were doing things and then for a while they get away from it because they think, okay, well, I'm going to go to school, get my degree in this, because we're told to go get those degrees because they pay the bills, right? And we go do that and then we live these unfulfilled lives because we're doing all that stuff and we don't really know any different because we just continue to keep doing that. But then there are other people, I think visionaries a lot of times know there's more. Like we see that there's the potential for more. And I think something that you said that resonated with me is that when you get in that space where you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, there's an inner peace. You may not be the wealthiest, you may not be living that high profile life, whatever that is, but you know that what you're doing is what you were meant to be doing. And I think that is so much better. I say kudos to you for stepping into that and, coming back to what your gift is. So your superpower.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
And I think the other thing is cool because you and I have talked several different times about you were going to leave your job. We had talked.
Yes.
So you left it just this past December, but we talked a year prior that you were going to do that then, right? So you spent almost a whole extra year at the position, which makes sense as to why you were very uncomfortable, because I think mentally you had already introduced the idea that maybe I'm going to move on.
See how powerful the mind is?
Yes.
The manifestation.
I was mentally already gone, but I was physically still in the space.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
you weren't
and
in alignment.
That's
I
right.
was not in alignment, and let me tell you, I felt every bit of it. And but the crazy thing was, I had experiences during that time where I was helping other people with their businesses, and they were doing great. And for some reason, I was hesitant to make that jump. And someone said to me, after like someone I was working with was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is thank you. I love working with you." And the person said to me, "You're doing this for other people. Why can't you do this for yourself?"
Boom.
And I needed to hear that. And I was like, you know what? I can. So after that, I was like, okay, I'm good. And I was ready to go. But you're absolutely correct. I think I was struggling internally with that battle of like, I've got to go, but this isn't a conventional plan,
Yeah.
It's a non-conventional plan. And I had to realize and accept the fact that I was never meant to live a conventional life.
And does that make
And
you irresponsible? Like if you
no, not
pull the
at
layers
oh,
back,
No. Yeah.
that's maybe something that you had to
Right.
tell yourself, well,
oh
because it's
yeah.
unconventional, what does that mean? And, you
Exactly.
know,
I love it. We have lots of extras in here today. Extra people. We like it.
yes.
It's all good. We love extras.
Yes.
So before because we have some fun questions
We
we
need
want
to
to
ask
ask,
some
but
fun with her.
before we
Yeah,
do,
sorry. I'm a serious soul over here, but
no,
yeah,
no.
and I'll just go and start going in deep if you let me. So yeah, let's have some fun,
But before we do, I really would love for you to tell us a little bit about the big book project that you have coming out. Can you share a little bit of that with us today?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked because this book is good. Okay.
Yay!
So the book is called Simple Methods, Smarter Decision, Safety Resource for Female Recording Artists.
Mm.
And this book was put on my heart to write because just over the past few years, we've been seeing kind of like this revolution where women who are in the entertainment and music industry are coming out and sharing these powerful stories at the pinnacle of their career. And it was triggering for me for two reasons. One is people were talking about what was happening, but they weren't sharing what they learned from it so that other women and young girls who are coming up can learn and prevent from those type of things happening for themselves. One. And then two, personally, I had dealt with experiences. And so every time I would hear these stories, it was so triggering. So I was like, I got to write this book. And so I started writing. I've never written a book before. This has been a process. And I want to thank you for helping me getting to this certain point. I've been meaning to do that, but I thought I would save it for today, that special thank you. But this book, let me share with you a little bit of the titles because they're interesting, okay? One, the power of your gift. Understand the power of your gift, which we talked about. Embracing your full natural being. And I have a fun little chapter that's called The Ugly Truth, the Male Groupie. Yes, that we need to talk about that. And I have something else that is a little, it's real, but it's unfortunate, but just like wolves, vultures, and narcissists, like understanding what's around you, right? And how to maneuver around that energy as you're growing in your career, and things of that nature. And the book also talks about leadership and confidence and things like that.
Ooh, it sounds
Yeah.
exciting.
And say the subtitle one more time because this is, and I've heard you talk a lot about women in music and how to conduct yourself in the recording studio, how to hold your own so that you can really call the shots so that you're not getting taken advantage of, knowing your, obviously your artist rights, all these different things. So I think the word safety is in that subtitle. So can you tell us that subtitle one more time?
Right. Safety resource for female recording artists. And I share a lot of tips, a lot of the similar tips that you mentioned about how important it is to know the business so that you can have just really knowledgeable conversations with people that you're working with and hiring, because really anybody can be anything nowadays, right? And so the more that we know, it's going to help us be more protected in this process, not only physically and mentally, but also financially in our business as well.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So when is this beauty going to come out, or when can we expect it and all the things?
Yes.
Soon?
So yes, of course. So right now it is in pre-sale mode. up until July 13th, and it officially drops July 13th. And it will be available on Amazon. I got my Amazon issue fixed. Let me tell you, writing a book is interesting. There's, you find the things that work and you address the things that don't. But of course, it's going to be on Amazon. And I'm excited about it. We've got a really nice, rich launch team in place and lots of press around this book. It's the very first book of its type on the market. No one has ever written anything or released anything around this subject. I have a friend of mine who is in grad school, and she said that she had just did a dissertation on sexual harassment in the music industry, and that she had literally hardly any references because no one had written anything on it. And she was like, I wish I would have had your book so we could have referenced some points out of it, So there is space to continue this conversation, which I think is a very important one.
Very good.
Good for you. That's so exciting. Congratulations.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome, Latoya. Okay, so let's ask her a couple fun questions here.
Yes.
Not that this hasn't been
Yeah.
good.
It's
We got
been
okay.
really
So
good.
I want to ask you because you're in the music industry, and I know she's going to ask something in that too. So I'm gonna open up with
Well,
this
I don't
one.
know. I'm going to go a different direction.
I got another question we could ask her that could be fun, but I want to ask you, who is your favorite artist? Like, do you have a favorite?
I do. Anita Baker, alive, and Tina Marie, who is no longer with us. I love Tina Marie. She's like a soul artist, and Nita Baker's like soul jazz. Yeah. Young love
That's
girl.
right.
Yes,
I know who both
yes,
of those
I love
are.
her.
We all do. That's how I'm like, we did some backup music right now, right? We can be like dancing in here.
Yes.
So good. I love this because
love Tina Marie.
you ask this question, and sometimes for people that's a hard one because they'll be like, I have a lot, But you guys are in the music industry, so I imagine you've got some, some artists that are pretty near and dear to you. So
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I'm going to go food because I like food.
Okay.
What is your favorite when you go out to eat? And hopefully you're going out to eat at this point. Maybe you're not yet, but let's pretend you are. If you could go, what kind of cuisine do you prefer? Like if you're going to go out to dinner, like what kind of food do you like?
I would say in my dream world in situations, seafood for sure. But if it's like home cooking kind of thing, I love fried okra. I know that's so random.
I like
But
fried okra. I do too.
Yes.
I love fried okra.
I haven't had it in so long either.
And any type of specific seafood?
Lobster,
I'm
of
hungry.
course.
Yum. Do you dip it in butter?
Oh, absolutely. Lots of butter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
sorry. I'm like,
We're on the food again.
Ooh.
and
I
it's
know,
Like that
yeah.
double shower.
I always have to ask about food.
time. That's right.
yes.
Okay, I have one more I want to ask her. I want to do the concert one.
Ooh.
Because
Okay.
I was thinking you were going to ask this one,
Oh.
but you didn't. Okay, so Latoya, what's the first concert you ever attended?
It was a New Edition concert. Yes,
I know
that's
this
how. What year was that? Like, I mean,
Was it like
some other
93?
artists probably, and they
Maybe
were
like
huge
92,
back
93?
then. Yes, and that was my first concert, and I absolutely loved it, and I stayed the whole time. It was a long concert, but yeah, that was my very first concert.
You know what's funny? Brianna came on one day and was talking about hers was New Kids on the Block. And it's so funny because I have this playlist on my Spotify that's like 80s dance music that I run to. And every once in a while they come on. And every time I hear that song, the other day, I think of Brianna. The other day it was on in the car and Sean's like,
Was it Hangin' Tough?
no, it was, that one. You
Yeah.
got the right
Oh,
stuff.
you got the right stuff.
Okay, so it comes on the other day, and my son is like, this is terrible. Can we get this? I'm like, give me a moment. I'm listening to New Kids on the Block right now. This is a good song. Brianna likes it.
Yeah, I was a huge New Kids on the Block fan as well. I never got to see them in concert, but huge fan. We would have a boombox. And did you have a boombox as well?
Yeah,
And you would put the
of
tape in and
Yes,
turn it
and
up loud?
I had the Joey hat or who was your favorite? Do you remember which one your favorite was?
I don't remember his name. Maybe it was Joey. I'm not sure, but I remember he had like blonde hair and blue eyes.
That's Joey.
That's all I remember.
He was the
Is
youngest.
that Joey? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. He was good looking.
Joey McIntyre.
She knows
Yeah,
all
he
the
was good looking.
details. But I laugh every time I hear it, and I hear it a lot. And I'm always like, oh, this is Brianna's
I love it.
band.
I have
Now-
a confession to make. I would love for the 80s to come back.
Me
Like
too.
the fashion, I love it. I love like the aerobics videos and the fashion. Like,
Right?
yes, I'm all for it.
That's my whole music playlist. And, and then when you have kids that can can sing the entire songs back to you, like they know all the lyrics to your songs. And you're like, how do they know that? And you're like, oh, because they listen. That's all I play.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
you
be
go.
singing Tita Marie on
Sure.
the way home. I'm going to have
I
to go
know.
find it on my playlist.
So Latoya,
yeah.
if our audience would like to get in touch with you, follow you on social media, buy your soon to be released book, can you tell us where to send them?
Absolutely. They can go to musicmeetstheboardroom.com. Everything is there. A link to where they can purchase the book, pre-order the book right now if they'd like, or learn more about my background, services, as well as what we offer in general at Music Meets the Boardroom. musicmeetstheboardroom.com.
And they can also purchase those beautiful glasses that you're wearing.
Yes, they can go to musicmeetstheboardroom.com and click on Shop the Brand, and they can
We-
pick up these fun glasses.
I got this idea. We need to get those glasses.
We do.
You and I
We
need
need
to
to
get those glasses. And next time we do a live, we need to put them glasses on.
Yep.
We need to order some of those. We're going to get some
They're
of those
fun
glasses.
glasses and they're showstoppers. Let me tell you, you walk into a room and people are like, like they just love it. And
Yeah.
why not? Why not? We need more fun in the world. So why not?
Yes, we do.
100%. So, Latoya, when this goes out, we will make sure we have everything connected so that they can find you in those glasses. And we're going to get some of those, by the way. And we do, of course, want to say to our audience, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook, because we can't do this without you. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube.
And don't forget to head over to startergirls.com to pick up your free gift so that we can keep in touch.
And we want to finish up with a couple final thoughts. And then, you know what? Like, I picked this out today, and I'm like, after she talked today, it actually fits so well with what she was talking
Yay.
about. So, success is knowing your purpose in life, growing to reach your maximum potential, and sowing seeds that benefit others. That's by John Maxwell again. And as we always say, in order to have success, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We will see you next time.